piece I had done for what would have been John Lennon's 70th birthday. Strange piece, like many of mine are. Hope you guys do get a chance to pay attention to some of my musical experiments. I'm not claiming to be a great musician, studied musician, or wonderful guitarist, composer, genius, whatever, artist, or humorist, or humanitarian, or great person, or whatever I'm apparently claiming that I am. But, or if I'm claiming that, which, how do other people do it? How do other people be what they are, be successful at what they are, and not be accused of being what they are? I'm having a real wrestling match with a friend, and I say friend because I believe that he's a friend. I believe that he believes that I'm a friend, but we don't communicate properly. And that certainly can be partly my fault. And I do believe it's partly his fault. But sometimes it's just button heads. Head butt. There's an Iowaism for you. Head button is when you got your butt on your head. My friend has some demons, and he's trying to deal with them best he can. And Lord knows I've got demons, and I deal with my demons the best I can. What I attempt to do is swallow my own pride, swallow my own hurt, my own feelings, not express that, not drag it out every chance I get. I try not to do that. I do it sometimes, but I try not to. I try to forgive and forget. I try to let bygones be bygones. I try to drop the subject, change the subject, move on, get over it, not let things just eat at me, and yet sometimes they do. And I believe my friend tries to do the same thing too, but there are times when it's as though it's the very devil itself is pushing him or gnawing at him. He insists on bringing up a grudge or something from long ago, or from 2 weeks ago, or from yesterday that I thought was over with, that I didn't take as a big deal. It was a big deal to him. And we've got a fairly long relationship. As far as being friends, it goes back to the 80s, I guess, when I first met him. We first met. He's a friend of a mutual friend who I go back a little further with, to the 70s. And I believe that he knew that mutual friend back in the 70s, but we didn't know each other. And we've wrestled with these kinds of arguments in the past. And for the life of me, I didn't understand why he couldn't let something go. I believe it is part of the personal demons that he wrestles with. And sometimes I get that way, but I'm a little less that way than he is, I believe, overall. I'm a little bit more likely to just let something go than he is. Now, I've got other faults, so I'm more likely to fill in the blank, whatever that fault is, than he is, and so forth, and all that. I'm not claiming a point of superiority there. I'm just trying to make a statement because there have been times, especially after wrestling with him, having an argument with him, where I felt that same vindictiveness, self-righteousness. I couldn't let it go. It was really strange to me. I don't normally operate that way. That must be a horrible way to live. Go around with hurt feelings and grudges and stuff. And I have them, but I don't have them as severe as a few times I noticed having them coming back off of arguing with him, or after arguing with him, arguing with someone else, but having that feeling stay with me. Normally I can just shuck it off. I let it roll off my back, like water off my back or whatever, you know. So I kind of know what he deals with when he's doing that. I kind of have felt that. It's not the way I normally feel. It's not how I normally operate. And sure, I've got grudges I'll die with. I'll never buy another drop of Exxon anything. If I'm suffocating, I will not breathe a breath of Exxon air to save my soul. I won't buy an Exxon Soul Saver for nothing, ever. That's a grudge that'll never get resatisfied. Or wait, there is one way. Exxon can clean up Alaska. Then we'll talk. BP is on the list. Almost all big oil. They've gotten way out of hand. I digress. So with this friend, I really do empathize, buddy. I know that is just the worst way to exist, to feel, to go around with that feeling. That's a horrible feeling. I don't envy that at all. I can see where that would bother you to a point of wanting to take it out and examine every part of the argument so that you get your points on the scoreboard and all your points are made and all of the other person's points are not made or disavowed because obviously he has no side to that argument. I'm the one that was hurt. I felt that way. More so arguing with you than anyone else on earth. I don't know what to do about it. I don't know if I can do anything about it. And it's especially hard on me because I don't like being that way. I don't normally operate that way. I feel like maybe I could help you if I knew how to change it, to make it better. I have felt it. It's a horrible way to feel. I don't like feeling that way. I usually take those feelings and ball them up and just crush them or throw them away or forget them. I try to make jokes about stuff like that. I am the sarcastic ass from hell when it comes to that. I'm really bad about that. But that may be what helps me deal with it. I don't do that a lot to people if I can help it. And if they say something to me about it, I usually try to back off, at least if I can. I forget, and before I know it, I'm making jokes again. But for the most part, when I'm making jokes, I'm not trying to make an issue a problem. If it starts causing problems, I try to change. I try not to make the jokes. But that's how I deal with a lot of the things that bother me, that mess me up. I don't know what to suggest. I know that sometimes psychiatry, psychotropic drugs, counseling, religion, church, art, all kinds of ways to express and get this kind of stuff out of you. All kinds of ways to deal with it and hopefully work through it. And one of the best ways is to sit down calmly without bringing a lot of emotion to it and trying to talk about it with a friend and say, look, last week, man, you just talked all over us. And sometimes that friend will be willing to talk with you about it. But if you have already blown up at him about it and not tried to talk to him civil about it, then he's less likely to want to have a civil conversation with you. He doesn't trust you. He doesn't believe that you really want a civil conversation. You're just looking for another way to back him into a corner and blame him for something. Maybe it isn't his fault, or at least he doesn't feel it's his fault. Even if you feel like it's his fault, he may not feel like it's his fault. And if you try to work it out in a calm manner, you may find everything else becomes calmer too, inside of you. You may find that will work. I don't know if you will or not. I know that sometimes in the heat of the moment, I say things I regret later, but it's gone. Cat's out of the bag. It's not recoverable. I might have said some things this time. I called him a Republican. That's pretty bad. So I don't know if I'm going to post this or not. It's really nobody's business, of course. Nobody's going to know who the hell I'm talking about or what I'm talking about, except for maybe if they identify with other friends and people they know that may have similar problems, letting go of stuff, being able to talk calmly about it, being able to come to rational conclusions about what happened rather than jumping to the most severe, exaggerated accusations as you possibly can. Believe it or not, I'm not some diabolical James Bond villain who's trying to make the world just nasty and uncomfortable for everybody else. I'm not that guy. Let's find a way to get over it. Have a good day, everyone. And this is an alternate edit of my video After Parties, the long version. Let's see if we can get a full screen here. And oh, it looks so beautiful in full screen. But that's not the reason I'm adding this little epilogue to my last conversation with you kind folks. If you have any suggestions, if you're a certified counselor or psychiatrist or someone who just has some good drugs, kidding about the drugs, leave a comment or send me an email or send me a message through YouTube or whatever if you have any suggestions about what's going on with my friend and I, and why it seems like we're locking horns, we're butting heads, we're butt heads, why we're letting that kind of stuff come between us. It's threatening our friendship. It's done it in the past. So, oh, and one more reason I am extending the video a little bit longer with this last little excerpt. Turn that off. YouTube has granted me the powers to post longer than 15-minute videos. I suppose I've done enough videos and content that they're trusting me with that, I suppose. Something like that. I don't know why exactly. I just noticed it on my page one day. Of course, maybe they're giving everybody more than 15 minutes. It used to be 10 minutes or less, and then they went to 15 minutes, and at least they had a thing on my video page where it said I was approved to post longer than 15-minute videos. So this will be the proof of that pudding. If this now, because of this last scene, additional scene, epilogue, is over 15 minutes. And if it posts properly, then we'll know, and gosh, one will wonder where we will go with that. Maybe I'll actually do the actual length retelling of the road stories. It only took about 4 years. Don't know if they've got that much space. Peace.